Conversation. Hi everyone. Alex here with my mom Linda. I am in town and I've already painted a wall and designed new packaging, ordered stickers, and now I'm matching my mom, so the Bobbsey twins are back.
Right. Well, it's always great to have you in town, and it's always inspirational to see what you're up to. You've been quite busy the last month or two getting ready, so confident, in shape, and the marketing of that and the graphics and all of that. So
yeah, we're always excited for this time of year because it's when we launch So Confident for the next year. So we've done it for 12 years. You're going to hear a little bit more about it as we get going. But if you're watching and you're a current So Confident member or have been one in the past, leave a comment and just tell us what you love about So Confident. Maybe it's just one word, but just quickly write a little note to us in the chat. We just like to see you guys see some
positive,
not positive, but interaction.
There you go.
Interaction.
Yeah.
See interaction with you guys. So
yeah, that would be nice.
Thank you guys for those that have joined us this year. It's been a fun year. We had our virtual cocktail party last Friday. That I was here for, that we were all here for. So if you were there and you're a current member, you got to meet the team.
I just hooked my earring on with the hanger.
That could have been worse.
Yeah, that could have been bad.
So we had a project for December, which is the Hudson Dress. And so we took the regular Hudson top, which we don't actually have a sample of that here, but it's a basic top.
Kind of a boxy, squared top that in a couple of lengths with a long sleeve and a cowl neck. Mm-hmm. Took that and turned it into this caftan type dress that has some stitching about 5.5 inches in from the edge. So you see these flanges, and then of course there's an armhole, and you can wear it with or without a belt. So if you're a member of 2022, Series 11, you have this series of instructions in your course page. I always get confused about where things are. You're sort of the manager of all that, but is that where it is?
Yeah, so we have what we will always dub the course page. This is like the most important page. So it's in your course page, which is where all the content for So Confident is. And like Linda said, it's a downloadable file that's in that course page, and it's however many pages. They're always extensive, they're always informative. They're always very educational and beautiful. Erin is the one that puts together all the illustrations.
12 pages.
12 pages of delightful instruction.
Yeah.
So
it shows you how to take the regular Hudson top, View B, and shows you what to do to it to make this dress. So remember that. That's your December bonus project. And
you also get a Sewing with Silks tutorial this month. So Linda also kind of walked everyone through how to work with that kind of fabric, which is a silk or silk-like fabric. And then something fun you did this month too is you did a class on sewing with miters. So you can actually sign up today for the Hudson Dress online workshop, and that is $50, and you get the instruction for how to make that Hudson Dress Variation. You get a Sewing with Silks tutorial. You get Linda's bonus class on sewing with miters. And what else do they get?
The opportunity to buy some of that fabric we showed.
Yes, and you also get the video of the virtual cocktail party, which includes a fun, informative, educational, festive recording of a party.
Kathy and I did a little overview of how to sew on silk. Mm-hmm. So it was technical and fun.
Yeah, so that's in the sale today. It's not directly on sale, but it is something you could purchase today if you want to get that dress.
Yes, a couple of other little reminders. There's still time to get a gift card for yourself or someone else, and we're seeing some of those come through. We also have a new product.
The Willow Blouse is a pattern we came out with this year, and we just got the paper pattern in. So it has been digital, but if you're a paper pattern person, say that 3 times fast, paper pattern person, then you can purchase this today, and we will ship it to you.
That's right. And this is the project that was July, I believe.
Yeah.
The white shirt. And the tutorial explains how to make this start to finish. And then in August, we showed it in a print. And Betsy did a beautiful presentation on Liberty of London fabrics, the history of Liberty of London, and the beauty of Tana lawn cotton. And then, just as an aside, we wanted to know if this looked good as a dress. And I wore this at some point last fall, and it does look good as a dress. Some people might put a belt with it. I'm not particularly a belt person, but it does make a beautiful dress. This is in a silk charmeuse. It happens to be one of the fabrics that we offered last Friday. So anyway, the Willow is now in print, and so that's new to us. But that's telling you how long it takes to get printed patterns now, because this was a July introduction. So unfortunately, the printing process is taking a long time these days.
I always love our illustrations and our cover designs, and Erin does a good job of she always picks the hairstyle, the colorway, the accessories, I don't know,
shoes,
makeup and
the
things.
whole thing,
it's always fun.
if there are shoes. Yeah. And then our illustrations are actually done by an artist who I've known for 35 years, Judy Francis in New York. And I used to do projects with her when I was doing some things for Vogue and Bedrick. And she's an exquisite illustrator, so we like our illustrations. All right, so today is another introduction of the Origami Skirt. And I say introduction, it's really a reintroduction.
I was going to say it's pretty old, isn't it?
It is. As a matter of fact, it's not the
first. Is it older than me?
Yes, not by much. Not by much. Yeah, that's right. So our first pattern actually was the Japanese top. And the second pattern was the Origami Skirt. And we introduced that along with 6 other patterns. There was this core set of 7 patterns that we introduced back in 1991 or 2. I've kind of forgotten. Am I right about that? I think I am.
I was born in '89, so.
Okay, well, all right, then no, they're about the same age. All right. So this is the Origami Skirt, and it's one of the most unique patterns we've ever had. We're reintroducing it today as a digital pattern. We're reaching back and taking some of these good old classics that are really unusual and fun to make and reproducing them as digital patterns. And Betsy's been responsible for all of these digital patterns that have come on the scene, and she's done a great job over the last couple of years of just reaching back and grabbing those patterns, and it's reformatting and it's digitizing, and it's a process, but still, they're not in print. So
it'd be fun to know if you also want to leave another comment in the chat, who has made the Origami Skirt, or who is familiar with that pattern, because I don't know much about this pattern. I've never made it. I also would argue that it's not a skirt because it has a leg hole. So
it has 2 leg holes.
2 leg holes.
Yeah, 2 legs.
I guess that I'd want it with this skirt.
But that's right. Yeah, we call it the Origami Skirt, but you're absolutely right. It does have 2 openings. Mm-hmm. So the right side of the skirt is basically a rectangle. So this part, even though it's on the diagonal, the pattern is pretty much of a rectangle. And then this other side is this very unusual shape, this sort of trapezoid shape. And the way you kind of bring it around and fold it, it creates this extra leg opening. And
Didn't you wear one time where you put both legs in one leg hole?
Well, I might have by mistake.
Or maybe that was me. Maybe I did. Probably me.
Not intentionally, I don't think.
I remember wearing this at an Original Sewing and Quilt Expo show, and I was confused. I think I had it on backwards and put my legs in the wrong holes. So.
Well, maybe you had it on upside down.
Oh, there is something there.
Yeah,
I always mess the garments up that I shouldn't have.
Well, it has a hidden zipper, and it has a waistband and button, and a couple of darts. So there's no side seam on the right-hand side, but there is a dart in the back and a dart in the front. that creates that shape that comes in at the waist, as if, I don't come in at the waist, but some people do.
Me neither.
So now the one you have on is actually shorter and also has elastic across the back. It's one of the things that I did later on to the pattern for myself, excuse me, to make it just a little bit more comfortable. And basically I left the darts out. I just didn't sew them. So I had some excess in the waistband, and I was able to put elastic just across the back. So yours has been shortened a couple, 3 inches, and frankly, you probably are a candidate for a longer one.
Yeah, I don't prefer this length.
Right, I have on the longer length, and this is, you can wear it either way. To me, this is kind of a summer length, if you wanted to make it in cotton or seersucker or something kind of fun for summer. But I have mine on in 4-ply silk, which is just a beautiful fabric, and I have it in the full length. But no matter what, you're going to see a little bit of the left leg, just, like a couple inches below the knee. So,
Or the knee, if you're me.
or the knee, that's right. That's how short that is, that's right. So you're wearing tennies, sneakers,
Wearing sneakers, yeah?
and I'm wearing leggings and booties,
Yeah, from
boots. So it's 2 different looks of how you wear it. But I want to talk about the shortening of it a little bit, because it's one of those interesting things. So it's all about geometry, actually. And so this right side is the length you want to determine how long you want this skirt. And if you want to shorten it, then you shorten this. There's a lengthen and shorten line somewhere in kind of the center of this rectangle. And let's say you want to shorten this 2 inches or lengthen it. You would do that. And then you would measure, remeasure this distance and record that. So then this is the shape of the other piece, this left side. You can see how strange that is. This is the waistline up here. This is the little edge for the zipper. This is the seam that connects to the right side. So the lengthen and shorten line is on the diagonal. Well, if you know geometry a little bit, let's say you shorten that 2 inches. This is not going to measure the same as the straight edge on the right side. So you have to continue to manipulate this overlap to make sure that from this dot to this dot, which is M and E, that measures the same as the right side. And so this might be, I can't remember actually whether it's more or less, but I think it's less. So this overlap might be 1.5 inches or 1.75 inches, or maybe it's 2.5 inches. Honestly, I don't really remember. But you have to keep adjusting that to make sure that that is the correct length. So you can't just assume that both sides get shortened or lengthened the same distance. This is all in the instructions, but it's just a reminder that because of the asymmetry of this pattern piece, you have to be careful about that. So we have instructions in the for both lengthening and shortening in the pattern.
What would be your go-to to lengthen or shorten it?
I think most people are going to shorten it. Back in 1991 or 2, when we introduced it, it was a pretty long skirt. And we were wearing skirts really, really long then. I think we're still wearing skirts, long skirts, but I don't think they're quite as long as they used to be. Or else they're super long, like to the ground. But that, to me, this should be 1 inch or so above the ankle. Yours right now is what? Maybe 3 or 4 inches above the ankle. And I think for this time of year, maybe that's a little bit short. Although, I don't know, it's a personal preference. But I think most people are going to shorten it. I have not ever heard of anyone lengthening it, but I'm sure there's somebody out there who has, who's taller.
So this is the pattern right here, or has this been
Yeah,
length?
this is the length of the pattern.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't honestly remember what this is. We could measure it, but yeah. But it's a really interesting pattern to make. And again, we have good instructions. You have to follow our instructions. You have to trust us on this because you don't exactly know where you're going with it, especially on this part, because this little curve down here is that leg hole. So, you know, you have to match one edge to another side edge, and it creates a really interesting shape.
You have good instructions, but also great illustrations, generally, that always do a good job of showing
Yeah,
the next step also.
yeah, that is true.
I was just reading an article about skirts. You were talking about skirt length, and the article is about wearing sweatshirts or t-shirts or something casual with skirts. And generally in winter, even now, actually now in this season, we're seeing a lot of mini skirts with leggings or tights and boots and kind of big, chunky, oversized sweaters, oversized sweatshirts, but same goes for long skirts. So wearing like a maxi skirt or a longer length skirt with kind of a billowy, oversized sweatshirt or sweater.
That's interesting, and you're right. And I learned this last week from Erin, actually. In the old days, I was wearing this we had an origami blouse pattern, we had a Hong Kong vest pattern, shorter woven tops. And it was long before I was making anything in knit. I don't know, I didn't start sewing knits until just in the last 10 or 15 years, actually. So Erin was saying, well, yeah, I put that crane street with the origami skirt. And I went, oh, well, that's brilliant. So you are the crane street queen.
Yeah, and I also love knit fabrics. I mean, you could even make this skirt in a knit where it's without a button or just elastic waist. We wouldn't really talk about that.
Well, no, you're absolutely right. This would be gorgeous in a ponte. Mm-hmm. And you could eliminate the zipper and eliminate the darts and do an elastic all the way around, and there would be nothing wrong with that. Mm-hmm. And in those days, we hadn't even heard the word ponte when we were talking about this skirt. So all the samples that we have are in wovens, but a knit. I wouldn't make it in a super thin knit. I don't believe, like a viscose jersey. I think a French terry or even a fleece or a ponte or a sweater knit or something like that would really...
Yeah, even the wovens we picked out aren't terribly thin.
Right.
So you want something with some structure.
Right. I made a velvet one time, and I thought it would just be stunning, but it was so drapey that it lost its shape and kind of collapsed. Because this side piece is on the bias, it does tend to draw down the garment, you know, like a Chinese finger puppet that, do you even know what those are?
That you get your fingers
Yeah,
stuck in?
you stretch them and they get thinner.
Yeah.
Yeah, well that's
The things we used to play with as kids. I don't think kids play with those anymore.
Probably not. But it's the same concept. So this garment, because half of it's on the bias, does lengthen a little bit on your body. So anyway, so I made it in velvet, not super successfully, and I wouldn't make it in something like a really, really wiggly, thin rayon. I think that would be the wrong fabric as well. Mm-hmm. But the idea of wearing it with something chunky, sweatshirty, heavier is great.
Yeah, like what we're wearing now.
Exactly. So what are we wearing?
We are wearing the Crane Street tee. I believe this was a pattern we came out with in March, perhaps. Yep. And we have another version of it. And this was a project I came up with in April that featured an embroidery design. So here it is in a black French terry. I am wearing a white French terry and Linda's is ivory. These kits are on sale today and only in white and ivory. We are actually out of the black. So if you want to make this shirt, then you can actually purchase this kit that comes with the fabric, comes with the thread, but also comes with the embroidery kit. So I don't know, I got on embroidery like 6 or 17 years ago, I don't know when. Linda and I went to an Alabama Shannon workshop, and then I just sort of fell in love with embroidery on garments specifically. So Through that, I've dabbled in embroidery kind of throughout different workshops, Mandy Patullo, just my own stuff. I always kind of like looking at ready-to-wear garments even that have fun elements to them. Even a sweatshirt. Do you have the sweatshirt you have on today? Even the sweatshirt my mom has on today. We got the same sweatshirt in London, so hers is one size, mine is another. Even this sweatshirt is like a really great example of a ready-to-wear piece that has like fun elements to it. So I don't know. It's not embroidered. I guess, yeah, it's not embroidered, but
no, but
it has.
Well, it is, but this is a heavy machine embroidery.
Yeah, machine embroidery.
That I know how to do. So
these kinds of things I'm very attracted to. I'm always kind of looking at what special elements are on garments. So I took our pretty basic Crane Street tee pattern. Linda taught this as a workshop last year, and you know, it's a pretty straight front, pretty normal front, and on the back it's a 3-piece, I love this word, blouson. So it has opposing curves to create a top, bottom, and then this middle kind of flowing element to it. And the pattern is both short and long sleeve, so we made a long sleeve version of it. And then I just kind of played around with the idea of what to include for embroidery. So you can kind of see some of my process. I started out looking through some embroidery artists and just regular artists. So I like to look at Pinterest. So here was kind of my initial, what I would call mood board. So Sarah Gordon Botanicals was who I took some inspiration from. And then I knew that the Crane Street tee was the garment that we were going to use. So I was kind of playing with the placement, I was playing with the colors, and then you can see to the bottom right, I was looking at like the types of sketches, because when you think about sketching or creating something, we also had to think about what embroidery stitches we wanted to use for the piece. So I couldn't just sketch anything, I had to also consider, you know, what could be used as couching, back stitching, a French knot. So I took this inspirational mood board and then created this. So here's kind of the final sketch, the original illustration that I did. So it's basic, it's very much beginning hand embroidery. There's things like couching, French knots, applique, a star stitch, and in the instructions and in the kit for the Crane Street tee, I actually have another 12-page document illustrating how to actually do these hand stitches. And then I recorded a video in April that also walked you through how to do the stitches. So there's the final embroidery design. But just, you know, and here's the informational document. So 12 pages of how to do the stitches come with that kit, so you're not left alone. But again, I love to sketch on my iPad. So I use a program called Procreate. And so here's kind of an image of how it started with this design, and then we had to pick threads, we had to pick colors, we had to pick kind of how things were going to play out in this design. One of my favorite artists is someone on Instagram that I like. Her name is Morgan Harper Nichols. She's an artist and poet. So this is just an example of how I like to sketch things. So that's her Instagram. This is my Instagram, Alex in July. You can kind of see some of my sketches. You can also check out my website. I have a little section where I just have my sketches. But here's an example of something I just sketched on my iPad this weekend. Was kind of a reflective thing about 2022. It's not an embroidery piece. It's not something I'm going to use on any garment, but it's just an example of how I like to sketch things out, use handwriting, and do fun little things. But, you know, parts of this could be included in garments. So, yeah. So that's some of my inspiration.
So the original design was a block.
Yeah.
And that's what you used on this one.
Mm-hmm. So this black one is a version of the full embroidery piece or panel that was used with transfer paper. So in the kit, I give you transfer paper and everything you need, threads, needles, needle threader, a wooden, all the bits and bobs to get this embroidery onto the shirt, and then teaching you how to hand stitch it. So this is one version where it's all together, but as you see in Linda in my examples, you can also break up the embroidery like both of our shirts.
Right.
So, mine right here doesn't have anything on the sleeves, but it has things just on the front. Linda's is kind of mixed up, so you can play with these elements. I don't think it comes in the kit, but I do love a friction pen. So with a white garment or with a lighter color garment, you could always just draw on a shirt, which I've done before, draw something and then embroider. So that's kind of another playful way to consider embroidery. But in this kit, Linda and I had fun including some elements.
You went on a tear resourcing some of these items.
I think I said one time on a Zoom recently, my mom is like the queen of finding things that no one else can find. Like, she doesn't shop at the store across the street. She'll find something online and it will just be the coolest thing. So credit to her too, because she finds interesting things also.
Well, I love to find things that nobody else can find. But this came from England, as I recall. That's a silk thread.
This is Italy.
That's Italy, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. This came from Canada. These are cotton threads from France, right? With the little winder. Mm-hmm. And this we finally found in LA, silk.
Mm-hmm. So we really took time in trying to find fun things. It's easy to go buy embroidery floss anywhere.
Right.
But
this is the woolly stuff, and we went ahead and wound it on a clothespin. It's called a pin in England.
Mm-hmm. That's what we use for this couching piece here for the main flower.
And we give you a whole pack of needles and the needle threader, our best needle threader ever. Mm-hmm. I have hundreds of these lying around. And then the applique fabrics as well. Mm-hmm. The green, the peachy color, and the teal. So really everything you need, including the transfer paper that comes in here, of how to get it onto. And I think this sends you to a link on a little video of how to do the transfer, as I recall.
Yes, yeah. So yes, there is a video on how to use the transfer paper. It's pretty specific. So, yeah. But once you watch the video, it's
this is a transfer paper that you can stitch through. It leaves like a little glaze kind of thing on the fabric. You stitch through it, and then it just either kind of disappears or it washes out. Mm-hmm. So, and the only thing that we actually warn people, this particular woolly thread does not like to be put in the dryer.
Yeah, we learned that the hard way.
Yeah,
we were finished.
It does shrink up. It washes just fine, but it doesn't really want to be thrown in the dryer. So this is probably a wash and hang dry garment if you're using that particular thread. Mm-hmm. But if you're using your own threads and whatever, then it won't matter. But I love the whimsy of Alex's designs, and they're not abstract exactly, but they're I don't know, they're just free, I think. They're not restricted. I remember watching you go through various iterations of this and deleting and moving, and that's what you can do on in the Procreate program on your app. You can just tell it to go away and then move it or bring it back or whatever. It's really fun to watch you do that. Mm-hmm. So I don't remember exactly who made what here. We both made all of these, and I remember it went really fast, as I recall. It wasn't a real big to-do project, but we do have some of the kits of the white and the off-white still available. Mm-hmm. And the kits do come with the fabric, enough fabric to make the largest size, plus all of the goodies.
And I believe also we just sell the embroidery kits.
That's true.
And those are for sale as well. So you can, if you don't want the fabric, if you don't want to use the French terry or care much about that particular pattern, you can just buy the little bundle of stitch items and use that on your own.
Right. We need to confirm with Betsy today if this is on sale as well. I'm hoping that it is, and if it isn't, maybe she can do that kind of quick. I don't know. She'll confirm that with people. So let's talk about a couple of things. We've done our little Crane Street thing, I think, but let's go back to some fabrics for the origami skirt. So, or should we take some questions now? Do you think that'd be better? Or
One, Betsy did say the embroidery kits are on sale.
okay,
Do you want to repeat that?
the embroidery kits are on sale. Yes. Okay.
And then some of the comments and questions were mainly about the origami. So do
Okay.
you want to go with?
Yeah, we'll just go ahead with some fabrics here. And okay, so we've chosen some fabrics that are, on the one hand, sort of basic, like what we have on, and then we pulled out a couple of really fun ones as well. It was interesting. Alex just went back to the fabric inventory yesterday and pulled these out, and I think these would make fantastic skirts. So this.
Yeah, I pulled these out and then Linda pushed them back in. And I said, wait, no, they would be great origami. I don't think you were thinking they were.
No, I wasn't.
origami.
I was just on a sort of black navy bent. But this is it's like a file. And the fabric is actually cotton and viscose. But it has a nice crisp hand to it, but very stable. So you can see that the pattern changes from a larger design to a smaller design. And this comes in a panel. And it's also designed, it's a 27-inch panel. And so I haven't checked the yardage, but I would bet you'd need at least 2 panels. And we might have to check and see if you need 3.
Maybe to match.
In order to play around with the pattern, I suspect you might want 3 panels. Yeah. But this is Pucci. This is designed by Pucci.
So you know what I would do if I were you? I see these as little like embroidery designs. So if you're gonna get this, I would wear like a basic t-shirt or sweatshirt or something, maybe a knit. And then you could echo these square geometric elements onto a shirt, draw it on, embroider it on, applique it on.
It's a great idea.
So you could have it like as a cohesive wardrobe.
Yeah. Well, I'm crazy about these fabrics, and I've been looking at them for a while. Betsy too. Every time Betsy comes over, we talk about these. I think it's just like perfect for this. Finally, we found the perfect way to use this fabric. So then we do have some other basic fabrics, and this one is, we don't know what this is, but I think it's the same as this one actually. So read the contents of this, Alex, because it's actually the wrong side, the right side of the black and this sand color are on the other side. There's a slight sheen to it. So it has the appearance of a gabardine. But it's not a gabardine. A gabardine is a twill, and a gabardine is hard to sew. Mainly it's hard to press, actually. I'll never forget, there was an article in Threads called Taming Gabardine, and anytime you have to write an article on taming a fabric, you know you don't want to buy it. So this has the look of a gabardine, but it's what?
It's 50% nylon, 44% viscose, 61% spandex.
Yeah, so it's got a little stretch to it, which I think in the case of this skirt is a good thing to have now. I mean, not every one that we have has spandex in it, but at any rate, the right side of the fabric you can see is a little different shade, and it's got just a tiny bit of a sheen. Just think gabardine, wool gabardine, but it's not wool. So that's the sand color and the black one. And then this one is, well, this is the same thing. Yep. This is also nylon, viscose, and spandex. So I guess these three are the same.
And this one.
And the navy? Okay. All right. I guess we got that in 4 colors. I hadn't tuned into that for some reason. Okay. So then we've got 2 wovens that have some spandex. And this one, I don't know if you can see this or not, but this is really interesting. This has an overprint of a paisley. So it's a tone-on-tone paisley. Has some stretch, but you have to think about this because the stretch is on the vertical. So you might want to cut this out on the cross grain to have the stretch go around you. And then this one is really interesting. Does this have stretch in it too? Yes. Now this was also the lengthwise. No, lengthwise. A little bit on the crosswise. No, it's all lengthwise. Yeah. Am I stuttering? I think I am. So these 2 are kind of the same caliber of crisper fabric, and they both have these kind of embossed designs on them. So we're thinking this is a good assortment for a starting point for origami skirts. Okay, we'll take questions now.
All right, so just repeat after me. So the information you said about the lengthening and shortening, is that in the original pattern as well as the new digital pattern?
Yes, it's in the original printed pattern as well.
Is the lengthening and shortening for the origami on the original pattern as well as the download pattern?
Yes, it is. It's in the printed pattern and the digital pattern.
And we had quite a few people say they have the original and they made it.
Oh, good.
Somebody made it in a plaid.
Ooh, that would be fun because one side would be askew or on the bias and one would be straight. That would be cool.
If you've made the origami, send us a photo.
Yeah.
And you can email it to us or me at alex@sewingworkshop.com, and we'd love to see it.
Yeah.
Or tag it on Instagram or social media.
Yeah.
We have a hashtag on our product page for the origami, so you can see.
Yeah, so if you post it to social media, we have the hashtag for each pattern and garment on the product page. So I think it's probably hashtag SW origami or TSW origami. Betsy can post the hashtag, but yeah, if you post any of our garments, we have hashtags for them. So would be fun to see.
Linda, do you design all of the patterns?
Well, I use the word design loosely. I consider myself more a producer of patterns. We always start with something, or maybe an assortment of something. Might take us. My phone just rang. Elements, drawing elements from various ready-to-wear pieces or other patterns that we've done, and combining them into a garment. So I don't ever start from scratch, or I'm inspired by something that I see either in a store or on Pinterest or an advertisement from a company. So I'm kind of following. I'm a fashionista, I guess.
Could you both turn around so they could see the back of your garment?
Mm-hmm.
Can you see that back panel?
Mm-hmm.
A little easier to see in your garments than
The black one.
So do you have any tips on making the origami in knit?
Do you have any tips on making the origami in knit?
I think it would be exactly the same construction. If you made it in ponte, you would not have to finish the seams. You would use polyester thread instead of cotton thread, and maybe make sure you're using the right needle. But really, I would use the same construction, but maybe not finishing the edges depending on the knit.
Would this be nice in 4-ply silk, and do we have any plans to order any?
I have it on in 4-ply silk, and we do have black 4-ply silk on hand. I don't have any plans to order any more colors at this time. The price of it has gone through the roof, but you never know.
What was the inspiration for the origami?
I was in Paris in
1989.
That's right. Right after she was born, I went to Paris. Left her with Craig. And saw this skirt sort of kind of like this in an asymmetrical store in Paris. It was my first introduction to anything asymmetrical, really. And I've always been a follower of that particular brand. So that was the inspiration.
That's funny. Sorry. I'm not seeing any other
Too bad he didn't take me.
questions.
I figured I better get to Paris before you grow up. Well, I can still get there. No. I didn't, actually I didn't own, it must have been the late 80s because I don't think you were actually born yet. and I didn't own the sewing workshop yet. So.
It's okay, Mom. It's okay.
A lot of good comments about so confident.
Well, good. We're going to talk about that just a little bit here.
But no more questions.
Okay. All right. So let's
All
talk
right.
about So Confident. Thank you for the introduction.
Have you joined our signature program of sewing at the sewing workshop?
All right. So what are we starting out with in January?
All right, so here you are getting your sneak peek up close, I guess up close and personal sneak peek into the 2023 program. The first pattern is going to be the Now jacket or Now shirt. So this is the original Now shirt. And so the fun part about this year is that we're calling it pattern replay, which means we're taking our original kind of classic favorite patterns and then working with them for 2 months in a row. So we're taking the Now shirt, and then for the second month, we're kind of taking the same pattern and replaying it, redoing it, reimagining it, so that you're actually going to look at the pattern and almost do a double take because it's just so different. So the original pattern is this. So in January, we are changing it into a Now jacket. Linda, tell us about this.
Well, we've lengthened it a little bit, a couple of inches, added a bottom band, added these really unique pockets that are open on 2 sides, adding a sleeve patch, and adding a cuff and a vent, and changing the collar from a wider collar that's open on the ends to more of a stand-up collar that's the same width as the band and the cuffs. And we're making it in a feather whale corduroy. So the 3 kit colors this for January will be this raspberry, this royal blue, and the forest green. And the kit will include enough fabric to make the largest size, plus the buttons and thread. And, whoops. So that's what's coming in January. And we're actually filming the video on Thursday that will take you through all that you do to the pattern, which will also be in a complete document that you get ahead of time of how to lengthen it, how you'll have a template for the pocket, you'll have a template for the sleeve patch, you'll have dimensions for how wide to cut the bands. So, but then in the video, we'll go through the actual construction of the garment from start to finish.
And techniques, how to do seam finishes, how to work with the fabric, things like that.
Right.
So,
Right.
and we're actually doing the video together, which we've never done before.
That's right.
So this is the first project. So each month, similar to what you're familiar with this year, each month will be a brand new project with a new kit, with a new design really. So we're kind of walking you through different looks on our patterns each month.
If you want to go back and look at last week's Facebook Live, you'll see a complete review on this big bulletin board that I had of each project for every month. We have a plan for the whole year, and you can see the patterns. We have 6 patterns that we're using. All of them will be available as downloads, some of them as print. And so you get a good view of what's going to happen for the whole year. So we're really excited about it. You can sign up for the year, and if you sign up by January 6th, you get the instructions to take the Eureka top.
Well, you really get 3 things if you sign up before January 6th. You get a free project. So this is our Eureka Pocket Top, and this is made out of a French terry, or fleece, not French terry, right,
Fleece.
So it's made out of a, what did I just say? Fleece. We're talking about French terry fleece.
Yeah.
So you
Similar, but not.
You get this as your free project, which includes a free pattern. It also includes a free tutorial, and it includes 25% off this kit, which comes in about 9 or 10 colorways. We're out of a few colors.
Except we are, but we're ordering them
Officially.
officially.
Okay.
Yes. So we are currently out of, these are all the colors. I think there are actually 14 colors, maybe 13, can't remember. But we are out of the raspberry, boysenberry, and pine, I believe. Maybe not pine, but close. But all of those, we're still taking your orders, and we're getting them back in. So don't fear, you can get any color that you want, and all of these are on the website as potential fleece kits. Lots of great colors. I don't think there's a color missing, actually. So.
Yeah, so 3 special offers if you join before then, if you subscribe before then. So how it works is you either join as a yearly member for $425 for the whole year, or you can join as a monthly member where you pay $40 a month for 12 months for the whole year. So you get 3 things. So again, you get the pattern, you get the tutorial, and that's going to release on the 30th at the end of this month, and then you get the 25% off this kit.
Yeah. So what we did to this Eureka is added this curved seam and added a pocket, and then changed the design and the width of the armbands. And so we talk a lot about the top stitching on this, but it's basically the Eureka top. And there's also a pattern in our blog that you can look at of how to lengthen the sleeve if you want a long sleeve. So we're encouraging you to sign up for So Confident. Now's the time. This is a big push for us. By you signing up before January 6th, we have a little bit of a clue of how many kits to order for the future, and it helps us through the planning for the whole year. All right.
We do another question.
Yeah.
So if you're already a 2023 member of So Confident, are the January kits ready to go now?
We are waiting on the buttons, and the buttons should be here like today or tomorrow or something like that. So yes and no. We have them cut. We have the thread ready. But
We haven't released them on the website. So
Correct.
Those usually release, sometimes they release before the 1st of the month, but definitely the kits and products always release on the 1st of every month. So stay tuned for that. You'll get emails from us, and you'll be the first to hear when we have these kits for every month.
We get our buttons from Italy, and there's been a little bit of a lag on this one, but they are on their way, and they are supposed to be here.
For the largest origami using the Pucci fabric, how many panels would you need?
I would think 3.
And we can always get back to them.
Yeah.
So if you want to make the origami out of the Pucci fabric, you need 3 panels.
Yeah, but we're going to verify that maybe right after this and make sure, but I feel like 3 will do it. That'd be 27 and 20. What's 27 times 3? Basically 50, almost 60 inches. Boy, I don't know. I don't know if that'll do it.
Since they're kind of odd pieces, I think we should look.
We should look. But it's only 2 pieces. So it's not like you...
Meaning 2 patterns.
2 pattern pieces plus a waistband. Well, plus a little facing thing. But basically 2 primary pattern pieces. So you're going to need a length yard. I think you're going to need 4 panels, because I think you're going to need 2 yards, possibly. And that's 4 panels, right? at 27 inches each.
I mean,
Yeah,
27 is only 3/4
yeah.
of the yard.
But we will verify that. Yeah.
I don't see any other questions. So-
All right, have we covered everything?
I think so.
All right, well, thanks for
Thanks,
joining me
everyone.
again.
We're actually going to go live on Instagram here shortly if you want to say hi again.
Do you want to run through the sale?
Yeah, let's go through the sales. So all the fabrics are on sale, all of these, plus the Origami Skirt pattern, which is digital, the Crane Street tee, which is digital.
And it's not on sale, but we do have 2 workshops that we mentioned that are in the sale category. The Hudson Dress Workshop, where you can watch the videos and get a bonus class from Linda for $50. And then also the Crane Street Tee online workshop. So if you want to actually learn how to make the Crane Street Tee, and Linda, through a video, will walk you through all the steps and teach the techniques of how to actually make this garment. That is in the category. It's not for sale, but it's $50 as well if you want to actually learn how to make that garment.
And then the Crane Street kits in the white and off-white are on sale. And that includes the all of the goodies, plus this is on sale as well. Just the kit alone for the embroidery with all the flosses and threads and everything, or the kit that includes that plus the fabric for the Crane Street. So 2 different ways to do the Crane Street. Okay. All right. I think we did it. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful holiday weekend and enjoy some good food and good company. And we'll see you after Christmas Day, I guess, after the day after Christmas Day. So, all right. Talk to you later.